Hey guys, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So this is going to be part 2 of my bookshelf, and it's all about Caribbean Heritage Month. So I'm highlighting the books that I have on my shelf. Most of them, I do have a TBR. I do have a haul. Yeah guys, talk today, Peter, talk today. How y'all doing, guys? How y'all doing? I'm holding on. I'm holding on. So anyway, I have a haul coming as well. So those books I'm not gonna have in this. Plus, also the books that I did read of Caribbean Heritage in May, I will talk about in my wrap up, which is going to be the next video after this. So let me just start and give you a glimpse of the bookshelf I have in my bedroom. I have two. This is the bigger one. I do have a smaller one on the side, but those are mostly my classics and other stuff that I have on that shelf. But this one is my main one. So here's a little glimpse, guys. So guys, this is one of my bookshelf in my room. So down here is where I have my Caribbean section. So not all, most of it is on this side, and then I have like I think one or two on this side. So on this side I'm not gonna go in deep because it's only two. So if you have To the Well Run Dry, which represent Trinidad, and then over here Z.D. Smith. Now if you guys don't know, she is of Caribbean heritage. One of her parents is Jamaican, and the other one of course is British, but not gonna talk about this book because this wasn't my favorite. I think I was frustrated. I think I gave this book a really bad rating too, because I didn't really like it. I'm just being honest. So yeah, and then over here is the books that I'm gonna take out and we're gonna talk about. So I am going to start off by talking about short stories. So in this book, this stack I have a stack over here. I'm gonna go as fast as I can. A lot of these I did reviews for. This way this video won't be too long. You know, my internet's slow. It takes forever when the videos are so long. So anyway, so we're gonna start with The Pain Tree. Now I met Olive Senior last year. She is a Jamaican treasure, and she is a poet. So if you haven't checked out any of her poetry, do, because that's what she's really known for mostly, is her poetry. But she does have a short story collection, and she does have other more historical books and all that. She is in the academic area that she teaches, and she's currently in Canada. So this book, I've read quite a few. I haven't finished it. I don't want to finish it. This is kind of book where you just want to slowly get into. So I'm not sure if this is really good for like, you know, if for a readathon, because I love the stories. They just, there's just so many, the stories I read so far where I'm just like, pause, let me soak it in, let me get back to her, let me put her down for a little bit, because I just want to soak in all her stories. So I've been slowly reading this. I've been really enjoying this. This is such a good short story collection of, you know, yard and, you know, things that we grew up hearing, and how she described things in the stories. Just she is amazing, and I'm glad I got to meet her last year at Brooklyn Book Festival. She did sign, so you know I'm never gonna lose this book. The next book is also from a Jamaican author. It said How to Love a Jamaican. This is also a short story collection. Now initially when you hear this, you're thinking it's just going to be some romantic tale or something in that area. It is not. These are stories that are very much reflecting of a lot of Caribbean people, whether they're in Jamaica or they're here, and how they're influenced by, you know, immigration and poverty and sexuality, and there's so much things in this book that she did grasp on. Me personally, there's stories that I really love, and there are stories that was okay, which is typical for a lot of short story collection. But I do feel like this one you will enjoy. You'll find at least one story that really grab you and really make you think, and she did good. This was her debut book, so I'm looking forward to what she's doing right now. She is going to be doing a full-length book at some point, but I'm glad I got to meet her, and of course it is signed. The next book is gonna be poetry. Now, I do have other poetry books. It's frustrating because I have no idea where they are, and I know they're somewhere in this house. But those poetry books are much older, which I treasure, which I need to find, because these are books that are published before I was even born, and they are very folk tale kind of poetry books from Yard. So I want to find it, but for now we got this other babes, and this is Stacey N Chance. She is a poet. Now guys, I read quite a few of this. She come shooting. Like, she was she was out the, I mean, I don't even know how to describe her poetries, because I mean, there are very much in your face, reality check, this is how I feel, like it or not, I'm going to speak my mind, I'm going to say things that maybe you don't want to hear. She is that kind of poet, and she is amazing, you know, represent Jamaica. So I like this, love it. If you want poetry, this a while. The next book is from YA section. So this is Nicole Young. Wow, am I messing this woman's name up? Anyway, these two, YA. So this one doesn't really give you much about any kind of Caribbean, but this was her first book, and I really like her. I met her last year at BookCon. Yeah, I kind of started the madness because I saw her walking and I had to go up to her, and then poor thing couldn't move after that because everybody realized who she was after I stopped her. So I always remember that. But this one I liked. The movie, it could have been better, but of course this is a good one if you want to, you know, if you're into YA, you want to read a Caribbean author, but it's not really Caribbean. Now, however, this one, yes, this one talks about a young girl who is an immigrant, and she's getting ready to be deported with her family, and met a guy, and it's just a day of how things can change in a day, not only the bad stuff but also some positive of a bit of a romance. Love the book. Movie, another movie bust for me. I just wasn't a fan of that movie at all. But this book really was good. I think when I read this, I gave it a 5-star. That's how much I really loved it. You know, if you're not into this whole insta love thing, then, you know, you might like screw your face up at this. But I think it was done in a way that I appreciated and I loved, and there's so many things that she talks about in this that is so precious as someone who's an immigrant and, you know, living in another country, and, you know, have this feelings towards things that, you know, is important. So this one I would recommend. Now let me get now to my babe, my sister. I've met her so many times, guys. I love her. And that is Nicole Dennis-Benn. So guys, if you haven't read these, I don't know where you at. I don't know where you at, because she is everything. I love her. You know, she's same birthday as my mother, so, you know, I have to shout her out every time my mother's birthday. She getting a shout out too. And it's just, first when she came up with this, I remember thinking, oh my God, she just a hero, the dirty laundry. You know, I was thinking all of that because this story took place in a community that is very heavily influenced by the tourist industry, you know, the resorts, the things that's happening. And a lot of things that was discussed in this book is so accurate, and also so like you cover your face and your eyes and you don't want to hear because you know this is just awful. But it also had 3 characters who are having different struggles. There's 2 daughters, their mother, And there's those heartbreaking moments when the mother is, you know, teaching her child how to survive in a way that is just brutal, but also in a way that she only knows of survival, and the harsh reality of surviving in a poor community, and get the money how you can get the money kind of attitude. And I remember thinking, oh, man, there are so many Jamaican women who are living this life, and it's ugly, but it is what it is, and they're trying to make it, they're trying to survive. And I love this story. There's, I mean, the authentic writing style of this is everything. If you are not into, you know, you can't really get into a certain writing style as far as the patois, as far as the saying that we, you know, things that mothers say, you might not get it. But me, I had moments where I'm freaking screaming because I'm like, oh yeah, that's a Jamaican mother for you. So I definitely love this. Highly recommended. And then last year she just decided to just knock me over, and this was my favorite book last year, and this book is what I will say, and I'm still sticking by it. This is Many Caribbean People autobiography, because it's so many different themes. Everybody grasps more to the LGBT theme, but then there's also the immigration theme. There's also the friendship, religion, family. There's so many different themes that you can grab onto in this story and talk about and have this lengthy discussion, because she really packed in so much that I read this and I saw myself, because I was that little girl who got the barrel, who got everything she wanted, who missed her mother, who looked forward to those walks down to Halfway Tree Road where them used to have the phones, and that's where you had to go talk to international, because we ain't had no phone in the house. You know, this is something that when I read this, I remember thinking, oh my God, how grateful I was that I had such a wonderful mother. Because parenting is talked about in this book, where for some it's just not forgivable. It's for some you just struggle with, because how can a mother do such a thing? That's the common comments you will hear from people who read this, who are struggling through this book. But I loved it. I loved it. I appreciate it, and this is why this was like my #1 book last year, and I still feel everybody should read this. And because I really want everybody to read this, I am not going to put in the title, because I want people to really watch this video. I'm going to do a giveaway of her paperback. She just released the paperback, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and I am going to give away this because I want everybody to read this book. So one person will get a free copy, and in the description, the comment, just say enter me. That's it. Enter me and you will get a copy of this, of not the hardcover but the paperback version of this. Okay, yeah. The next books are from my lover Mina. And you know what's so irritating? Every time he's in, say, the New York area, he's just, I always miss him or forget, and I never make it out to his event. But you guys should watch some of his interviews, and you see why I have to meet this doggone author. I am really like, next time he get on a damn plane and come to this neck of the wood, because he is based, he's Jamaican, he's based in England. I have to meet him. I have to meet him. I have to meet him. And if I'm watch this, I'm have to meet you. So that is Kai Miller, guys. So I talked about in the previous video the Wonder Woman, which was on my shelf. These are the other three, guys. What can I say? If you're not reading more, and you know what's so funny? I talked about this book 2 years ago now. It's been 2 years. And I remember just, I couldn't even function like when I started. I was just jumping up my skin, because I was just like, why are people not reading this? How great this book was. I literally read the freaking last, I think there's an excerpt I read quite a few times because it was just so poetic. He is a poet, guys. And a lot of poets, when they know how to write and they can write a full-length novel, just how they put words in it, it just be like, oh, yes. Yes. And this is how I felt about him. This book, I'm glad I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm glad I'm seeing it now on a lot of Instagram feed and people are picking it up, because I was screaming it in 2018 that people need to read this, and I'm glad people are finally reading this. But this story is just, just think of an event that is just so brutal at times, but also gritty in ways that you just find something in it that you just can't believe that really happened moment. This book did that, where it's talking about the event and what led up to the event and the people in the community. And there's this one old woman in this, but just love her. She just, Lord. But all the books start and the situation with her eye, Lord Jesus, I was like screaming like, oh God, this is what we're going to be reading in this book. But it just got better, and it really highlights so many things that, you know, with religion and living in certain community that has this beliefs and this behavior that is not really healthy, but how they when it's time to stand up, you know, they will. I don't want to talk too much about this, guys, but you need to read it. Read the book. The next one is this one, which I reviewed. I reviewed both of them. So all these books that I have reviewed for, I'm going to put it in the description so you go check out the full net review. This one I also reviewed the end of last year. It is one of my favorite as well. And oh Lord, for y'all LGBT folks, this one is rough. Yeah, it's rough. But there's a situation that happened in this book where it makes me think about the island life back in the time period that this book was based in, and how they were able to keep their secrets of their sexuality, and how religion can really tear up a community. And this book had that. It was entertaining because there's, you know, he still find witty ways to make you laugh, but there are moments where you're like, oh man, them people, they're wicked. But you know, I just, it was good, guys. It was good. So pick that up. And then I'm gonna end it with, you know, y'all already know who I'm ending this with. And I've had all my books from him signed, because I met him last year at Brooklyn Book Festival. Guys, you should be checking out those vlogs that I do for Brooklyn Book Festival. The last 2 years was just amazing. But this one, you know, I'm rude too. I'm not as witty as Camille. Camille just talk all kind of foolish sometimes, but you just want to laugh. But I'm fierce too. So this is Marlon James. So I'm going to start out talking debut. This was his debut novel, and a lot of people have never read this, but you need to. Drunk Rose Devil. When I read this, I wasn't surprised by, you know, Black Leopard, Red Wolf. You know, I think people who have never read like some of his earlier books are probably like shocked. They probably only read A Brief History of Seven Killing and then thinking, what the hell is this? This one, this is another church folks mess. But boy, when him tell this story, I was just like, what the hell did I just read? And then I realized, oh Lord, I love him. I just love him. I love him work. I'm a huge fan of his work, period. And this is one that I feel like a lot of people skip over, but you need to read this. You need to read this, and you will get a better understanding of the madness of why him decided to go take another direction and experiment with Black Leopard, Red Wolf, which I do have, but I'm not going to talk about in this video because nothing about that book is Caribbean. But yes, the next book, of course, is my favorite book from him, The Book of Night Women. I don't know anybody who read this and didn't like it. I need to find who read this and didn't like it, because something wrong with you if you don't like this. This book give me the vibes of Nanny the Maroon. If you ever heard about one of our Jamaican heroes, Nanny the Maroon, when you reading this, you're thinking, yeah, the inspiration is there. Because this character in this book, how she was written, and this book also has so much historical content, because a lot of his books, to be honest, is based on some actual facts that he twisted and make it as, you know, a fiction about it. And this one is one of those. We've had several upright in Jamaica. A lot of people who wanted to overtake during the slavery times, and a lot of them were Maroons who knew the land and was able to survive in the mountains and do all of this. But there are some that was in a plantation who had to survive and find ways, and this main character, she's believed to be the one that can change things, that she has this power to do things. And you just see how young girl and how she's evolved in the decisions she make. It's kind of like I would say her actions are, it was needed, but there's that thin line between good and evil, and you see it in this and some of the characters and even her actions and how she is coping with some of the things that she had to do. But this one is my favorite. No ifs and buts about it. If you want to read the Marlon James, I would say you definitely should read this one. The next book, which is going to be the last book I talk about, and that is A Brief History of Seven Killing. This is another book too where he took actual historical event and made it into a story and add characters. But a lot of the characters he added, guys, they were real characters. Because when I got to about the last couple of chapters, I already knew what was going to happen, because it was based off one particular gangster, we will call his name, that this story of this myth, and whether or not it was true up to this day, we don't know. But I remember growing up as a kid and always hear that story, always knew. Matter of fact, I was very young during that period of time, so I do recognize a lot of the things that was written in the book. And I remember thinking, oh, he took that daggone story and twisted it, but I remember that story. And I love that he did this. But there's a female character in this that had me laughing so hard, and how he was able to just do this, and surrounding the Bob Marley attempted assassination that happened, and have these characters and these government people that was involved, and how these and he was really gritty in this, because, you know, if you thinking of how a man died from a certain way, he writes it where you just read and thinking, oh yeah, damn, he went in detail about this death, you know, about this particular person's death. And but it is another authentic in terms of the writing. He put the patois in there, he talks about things. And I feel like a lot of these Caribbean books that are Jamaican based, that has authentic patois, and people who can't really understand it will automatically just trash the book because of that, not because of the storyline, but because their inability to understand some of the patois. But to me, the way the patois are written in this book and a lot of the other book is written in a way for you guys that don't understand patois, because it's a more gentler way of writing patois. Because if you really read a lot of books that are really don't care, that you probably would understand it, because, you know, but it's kind of pronounce it how it looks. And if you really take a good glimpse of how it is, you can definitely recognize what it's saying in English, because it's broken English. But I know people are struggling, but I always tell people, if you cannot read it, and just get the audiobook, because it will be so much better for you to understand what is happening. Because even in the audio, and they speak in patois, it's still what we Jamaican call watadong patois. So, you know, but yeah, but definitely I think, you know, this is it. This is the Man Booker Prize book. and this is what really put him on the map as far as for the world to know who he is. But this is the third book. Yeah, this was his third book, so it took the third book for them to realize that. But guys, that is it. And I hope you guys definitely get something out of these, and also out of part 1. And I'm going to end it here, and then the next video is going to be my wrap up, where I did read 3. I have 3 Caribbean books in the wrap up, and also I have a haul that's come in as well with the books that I intend to read for the week, the 10-day CaribATHON. So yeah guys, thanks for watching and have a good day. Bye.